everybody. How are you doing? Good? That's great. Okay, so I hope all of you have gone through the procedure of submission. Yes? Okay, I hope you understood it well. Yes? Good job. Okay, so do you all know what class it is today? Science, that's right. And do you all know what topic we are going to do today? Okay, so what we are going to do today is habitat. And what are we going to do in habitat exactly? So, do you know why fish swim in water and not fly in the sky? That is because they have a particular habitat to which they have adapted themselves to. Okay, that would be better. So, in this class, we are going to learn about the habitat and what is provided by the habitat to the species living in that habitat. Furthermore, we will also learn about the adaptation done by the animals according to the habitat. Okay, so for example, let me tell you if it's polar bear. Okay, polar bear live in the Arctic area that is extremely cold. So if I send them to woodlands, do you think they'll be able to survive in that scorching heat? It's really difficult. Okay, so they cannot sustain themselves in the heat which is going to be there because their bodies are accustomed to bearing the extreme cold climate, and extreme heat is something they won't be able to bear. Why? Because they have a coat which is called a blubber that is made up of fat which protects them from the cold. Okay, so it keeps the heat inside the body and does not allow it to go outside the body. Okay, clear? Okay, so this is what we are going to be doing mainly today. We are going to be learning about habitat, different types of habitat, and how animals get accustomed to it. And yeah, basically, most of this. Okay, so we're going to be learning about the three very interesting animals today and their habitat, how they have adapted themselves to the habitat. So it's a really interesting and exciting class. I hope you're ready for it. Yes? So shall we start? Okay, good job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all a video and then we go ahead. Okay? So just give me a second. Can you all see it? Yes? Okay, so let's start. So our planet is a world of shifting landscapes, each with different challenges for the creatures who make it their homes. Okay, so now we have different landscapes, we have mountains, we have deserts, we have grasslands, woodlands, aquatic animals. So we have different landscapes, and each animal is different from another, and they have adapted themselves to the habitat they live in. Okay, so let's dive deep into the ocean. Diving deep under the water surface, we can see how one animal has evolved for the underwater world in habitats. Okay, so now they're different creatures, okay, but they also evolve over time. So let's have a look at one of these creatures. So the octopus, with its 8 arms, it propels itself along the seabed, sometimes swimming, climbing over rocks, and feeling its way. So what basically happens is octopus has 8 tentacles, right? 8 arms. Now these arms help the octopus to swim or to climb over the coral so that it can feel whatever's there around. And do you know one very interesting fact about this? Okay, so let me tell you. The octopus has suckers on its body. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay, so these suckers, you can see it now clearly. Okay, so these suckers are basically taste receptors. Okay, what do you mean by taste receptors? They act as tongue. Okay, so and they have hundreds of these taste receptors. So when they are moving around the surface of the water, they can actually taste each and everything. Okay, now you imagine your body is covered in hundreds of tongues. What would you be able to taste, as you moved along the ocean floor? Won't it be really exciting? Yes, tasting so many different things. Yes? Okay. Now, can you see the octopus? Not really, right? You know why? Because octopus is the master of disguise. Okay, now we will see the octopus coming up. Can you see that? How it disguises itself as a coral itself? Yes? Okay, so now these are spineless. Okay, so being spineless without a single bone in its body means it can squeeze into a tight spot and disappear when necessary. Can you see how it's getting into a shell? Yes? Okay, so like the octopus in ocean, animals and plants all over the world have special ways of surviving in place where they live. Okay, the habitat, whether it's a woodland, water, desert, or mountains, a habitat holds everything a creature needs to grow. That is food, shelter, air, and water. These are the four important things. Okay, so food, shelter, air, and water. These four key ingredients are provided by each and every habitat to each and every animal. Okay, wherever they are, in whichever habitat they are. Okay, so in one way or another, they all depend on each other and they all have evolved and adapted to places they call their homes. Okay, so if you look at it, plants provide shelter and food for herbivores who in turn prey on the predators. Yes, so they have learned to adapt themselves to all the places which they call home. Okay, so what we are going to do today is we are going to learn about three bears. Okay, three very important bears, and they are very distinct from each other. Okay, so that's what we are going to do today. So these are the three bears that we are going to talk about today. The first is our polar bear, second is the panda, and third is the brown bear. Okay, so like these three bears, they are distinctly related, but they live in very different places. Okay, from the far frozen north where the polar bear lives to lush woodlands, okay, where the panda lives and survives, to the sweltering heat of bamboo forest, okay, where the brown bear lives. So there are three distinct places. So what we are going to do is we are going to talk about each one of them in depth, okay, right now. In the past, these bears have shared a common ancestor, but now they all have changed and adapted to their local habitat. Okay, be it North Pole or the Arctic area, be it the woodlands or where the brown bears live in sweltering heat. Okay, so now you may be wondering, how are they different? What has changed over time? What kind of environment have they adapted to? That is what we are going to learn today. Okay, let's talk about polar bears. Polar bears have fake white coats, keeping them warm. Okay, so and if you look at brown bears, they cannot do that, whereas polar bears do need it. Why do they need it? To keep themselves warm. And if the brown bears have that, they are going to die in heat, because as it is, they're living in extremely hot temperatures and they won't be able to bear the heat. Okay, and talking about pandas, they keep eating the entire day, so that's a completely different thing and they have adapted to that. Okay, so let's talk about polar bears. Okay, polar bears have fake white coats, keeping them warm and making them less visible in the icy Arctic. There are very few hiding places here. These bears have most sensitive noses of any mammal. They can smell a seal several kilometers away, and they can swim for days on end in freezing water. Their fur repels water. What do you mean by repels the water? Repels water, that means does not absorb water. Why? Because if it absorbs water, the polar bear will feel more cold. So it repels water. And their face and their forepaws are round and webbed. That's what helps them in swimming and making and walking on the soft snow, right? Okay, so you'll understood about polar bears, right? They have a white coat, which is also called as a blubber. In fact, most of the animals which live in Arctic area have a white coat on, which is called a blubber. Okay, what does it do? It acts as an insulator, so it does not allow the heat from the body to go outside. Okay, and that's what keeps the polar bear warm, and that's how they're able to survive in extreme cold. Okay, clear? Okay, let's move on to panda. Okay, so yes, giant pandas spend their days searching for and eating bamboo. And let me tell you, mostly they eat only bamboos. Okay, they must eat all day and sometimes part of the night as well. Okay, so what they do is they eat mostly the entire day and sometimes part of the night as well. And if you look at that, if you look at the face closely, pandas have larger head than the other bears, okay, with strong jaw muscles for chewing tough bamboo. Why? Because they're eating the entire day, right? So don't you think they need stronger jaw muscles to keep eating the entire day? Yes. They also have another unique feature. Because they spend all day stripping the leaves from branches, they have an extra thumb. Yes, isn't this an interesting feature? Most animals have just 5 fingers like us, okay? One thumb, 4 fingers. But pandas have 2 thumbs. Why? Because they keep stripping the bamboos the entire day so that they can eat. So it's an additional, it's a unique feature about the panda. Yes? So are we clear about pandas? Their head is larger than the other bears. That's another unique feature. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. That is the brown bear. Brown bears live in woodlands where their food supply changes with season. In the summer, there is plenty to eat. Okay, and this is the season, that is summer, where they think that it's a good time to bring up their cubs. Okay, there is fish to catch and berries to munch on. In the autumn, brown bears eat as much as they can, getting ready for winter when food is hard to find and it's time to enter the den. So, what do these bears do? They eat mostly during the summers and the autumn, be it spring, but as soon as it's winter it becomes very difficult for them to find food. Okay, and so what happens is, since it's difficult to find food, obviously they are going to starve. So what do? The brown bears, they snooze their way through much of the winter using very little energy. Why? Because there's hardly any food for them, so why waste energy? Yes. Okay, so there are 3 different bears that we spoke about today who live in 3 different habitats. So first is the polar bear, yes, who lives in the Arctic. Then you have the panda, who lives in places where there are a lot of bamboos and forests. And then you have woodlands, where then you have the brown bears who live in sweltering heat conditions. Yes, so we learned about 3 different animals who are very similar to each other, but they live in 3 different habitats. Yes. So yeah, that was it about the habitats today. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to post the link in the chat section and in the comment section on YouTube. All you need to do is click on the link, go ahead and get started. Yes. So I'll give you 2 minutes to complete it because it's really easy, just application. So make sure you're applying all the rules, whatever we've learned, to think and um, select your answers. Yes, I'll give you 2 minutes and then we will discuss the answers together. Okay, let's get started. Make sure you'll attempt all the questions properly. And it's more important to understand than to, get full score. But I would be really happy if you'll score well. And I want to see who's going to top the scoreboard anyway. So give your best shot. Okay, are we done? I can see a lot of people waving at me and saying they're done. Good job, guys. Very good. Okay, I'll just give you a few seconds more so that everyone completes it and then we go ahead. Okay. Okay, shall we go ahead? Okay, I'm going to share my screen so that we can solve the quiz together. Okay, shall we start? Okay, let's go. So the first question is, which one of these is a spineless animal? Humans do have spine, bones, right? Bears do have spine. So the only spineless animal which can squeeze itself into any place is octopus. This was an easy one. Yes, good job. Next question. Which of these is an example of adaptation by animals? Fur, yes, fur is one. Ability to hold breath for hours, yes, multiple animals do that. Ability to change color, yes, again, animals do that. For example, chameleon, yes. So all of these. Different animals adapt different things. Okay, next question. The environment where an animal learns to live is called its habitat, niche, abiotic environment, biotic environment. So we haven't done abiotic and biotic. Niche is a very particular segment. So where animals learn to live is actually called a habitat. And that's what we've done today. Yes, I hope you all got this. This is very easy. Okay, which of these statement is true? Habitat never changes. Animals adapt according to habitat. Should be adapt, sorry. Habitat never changes. That's wrong. Habitat can change. Okay, if there are some animals which migrate, so habitat can change. Okay, migrate means move from one place to another. Animals adapt according to habitat is the correct answer. That is statement 2. Why? Because polar bears have adopted to Arctic Ocean, pandas have adopted to the woodlands, and brown bears have adapted to the areas where there is extreme heat. Okay, so they adapt to the environment and habitat. Which of these is a part of habitat? So air and water, food, shelter. If you remember, in the start of the class, I had explained that habitat provides you with air, food, water, and shelter. So all four of them. So it's all of them. So I think this was a pretty easy quiz. Wasn't that tricky? So we are all done with this. So good job. And let's go ahead. So I have an exciting experiment for you. Are you all ready for it? Yes? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to tell you all what are the materials that we are going to need today. So let's go ahead. Just give me a second. Okay, so what we are going to be performing today is the Arctic habitat experiment. Okay, so let me tell you a little about it and then we go on. Okay, so what it's going to tell you is how the blubber, that is the fat coat which the animals, not only the polar bear but all the animals in the North Pole or extreme cold climate, whichever animals live in extreme cold, okay, like the Arctic area, how do they not feel cold? Okay, what is it that protects them? So it's the blubber, that is the thick fat coat. And how is it going to protect them? We are going to learn right now. So the materials that we need is a bowl of cold water or ice. If you don't have water, you can put cold water and ice as well. Good job, will do the work. Cream of fat. Okay, so cream which is really rich in fat. Okay, and a plastic glove or a rubber glove, anything would do. Okay, so I hope you're ready with the material. Shall we go ahead? Okay, so what we are going to do is we will perform the experiment with the video. Okay, so I'm just going to play it and I'll keep explaining it so that you all know what you all are doing. Okay, so let's go ahead. So what you need mostly is a bowl of ice or cold water. Okay, if you have ice and cold water, please put cold water and please put some ice. Then you need cream of fat. We are using Crisco over here. Okay, but that's okay. You can use any cream of fat. And the last thing that we need is a glove. Okay, a plastic glove would do best. Okay, rubber gloves are already thick, so I would prefer if you all use a plastic glove. Okay, now to go ahead with what we are going to do is we're going to understand how the fat is going to protect us. So for that we need to understand first how cold the water is. So to understand, what we are going to do is we are going to put our hand inside the cold water. Okay, so let's do that, everyone. Let's do that. Take your hand and put it inside the cold water or ice bowl. Yes. And okay, if you feel it cold, immediately pull it out. You don't have to keep it in till the time the video is keeping it in. Okay, so you can pull it out. We just want to check how cold the water is. Okay, so usually a human being can just keep it in for a few seconds and then you can remove it. Okay, so as soon as you feel cold, just remove it. We don't want to fall ill, so take every precaution that you can. Okay, so pull your hand out and wipe it with a cloth so that you don't fall ill. Okay, so let's go ahead. And okay, so this was pretty cold. Okay, but now how can the polar bears live in so cold? Like polar bears, penguins, seal, how do they survive? So what we are going to do is we are going to take a glove, put our hand in, and what we are going to do is we are going to cover our hand, that's a glove hand, with lots of cream of fat. Okay, and spread it properly on your hand. How is this going to protect you? Now this cream of fat is going to act as an insulator and not allow the heat to move out from any direction. So it's going to control the heat from all the directions. Now, if it's not allowing you to remove the heat, what's going to happen? It's going to stay inside, right? Inside the body. So it'll keep you warm. Okay, so and when you're taking the cream of fat, make sure you take it properly and everything and spread it evenly and then dip it inside. Now, do you feel anything? You won't feel the cold water or the ice. You know why? Because this layer of fat is not allowing the heat from your hand to move out. Okay, so the cold water is not going to touch you, and the heat stays inside your body, acts as an insulator, and that is how the animals that are there in extreme cold area survive. That's how they survive basically. So the fat acts as an insulator. I'm repeating that because that's very important. Okay, the fat acts as an insulator. But let me ask you one question. What if polar bears went to a place where brown bears live? Extremely hot. And as it is, they have a blubber. Okay, that's the fat skin, the fur. Do you think they'll be able to survive? Already there's a lot of heat that their body is producing, and again heat from the sun. Do you think they'll be able to survive? It's very difficult because they'll start feeling hotter because of the fur, because of the fat layer that is there on them, because of the blubber. Yes, so they will start feeling hotter. Clear, everybody? Yes? Okay. Wasn't this experiment interesting? Yes? Okay. So I think it's time for another quiz. So what I'll be doing is I'll be posting the link in the chat section and in the comment section on YouTube. All you need to do is click on it and go get started. Okay. So yes, I'm giving you 2 minutes and then we go ahead. Yes? Good job, guys. Now, these questions, the questions in this quiz are based on application. So make sure you all do it properly, apply your brains properly and attempt. Okay, because these questions are application questions. So all the best, guys. Let's see how you all do it. We are going to discuss it at the end. So there's no worries at all. Okay, I can see some of you all have completed it. Very good. Was it easy? Little bit, yeah. These questions were a little tricky. So, but did you all attempt them properly? It's okay if you all got a few wrong. We are going to discuss them. I'm going to tell you all the correct answers. I'm going to explain the answers to you all. But I hope you all have attempted it properly. It's okay if you all got it wrong. There's no worry. No worries at all. That's what I'm here for, to explain it, right? Okay. Okay, so yes, I can see most of you all are done. I'll just give a few more seconds so that everyone completes it and then we discuss it. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and let's discuss it. Okay, everyone's ready? Can see my screen? Okay, let's get started. Question 1. Layer of fat acts as a thermal insulator. Thermal insulator means blocks the heat. What do you mean by that? It stops flow of heat in one direction. No. Thermal heat means in all directions. So it stops it stops heat in all direction. It allows heat to pass easily. Insulator does not allow heat to pass. So it stops heat in all the directions. Yes? Good job. I had said this. So if you're paying attention to what I'm saying, you all would have got this answer. The above experiment demonstrates global warming. No, global warming is not being demonstrated. Ice melts under heat. Ice does melt under heat, but that's not what we were demonstrating. Fat is an insulator. That's what we were demonstrating. Fat of cream did not allow the heat from the hand to pass on to the ice and we did not feel cold. Remember? So fat is an insulator. Good job. Next question. Which of these animals do you think have layer of fat, that is blubber, to protect themselves from cold? The seals, yes, they do live in the polar areas. Yes, the whales, they live deep underwater, which is extremely cold, so they also have a blubber. Polar bear, we just saw polar bears have fur, that's the fat and the blubber. So it's basically all of them. So if you have applied, I had mentioned seals. So if you all have heard me carefully, you all would have got this. If the ice water is replaced with hot water, what will be the experience in both cases? Okay. Feel less hot in fat layer? No. Remember when I told you polar bear go to the areas which have a lot of heat, they feel hotter. So the answer is they feel hotter with the fat layer. Good job. If you all got this right, very good. This was a very tricky one, but I had explained it in a different manner. So if you all got it, good job, guys. Very good. Okay, next one. Last question. Which of these works on the same principle as demonstrated in the experiment, that is, blocks heat? Thermos flask? Yes, it keeps the heat inside the flask and keeps the liquid warm. Hot case for chapati, that is carousel, again keeps the chapatis warm inside. Quilts, they are like blankets, they keep us warm during winter. So it is all of the above. Again, application. I hope you all have done this well. Okay, good job, guys. So this was a tricky quiz. Okay, we just have one last thing left, and that's what I think all of y'all love. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show it to you all. Get your stationeries ready, and we are going to have a drawing time. So what we need to do is write your name, write today's date, what grade you're in, and name of your school. So these four things. And besides that, obviously you need to write the topic that we are doing today, that is habitat. So we'll be drawing two habitats today, aquatic habitat and desert habitat. So let's quickly fill in our details so that we can move on to drawing. Okay, is everyone done? Okay, now you need to make a rectangular box and divide it into two halves. So one side we're going to draw the aquatic habitat and the other side we are going to draw the desert habitat. Now, what is the most important thing in this is that aquatic habitat should have water. And how will you demonstrate desert habitat? With sand, but it's a little difficult, right? So you're going to just use sand color. Besides that, make sure you draw a cactus. If you can see, it's right over here at the bottom. Can you see this cactus? So cactus is usually in desert areas. So that's how you can represent a desert. So make sure you all demonstrate it properly. And till the time you're drawing, let me just give you all a few details. So first is to get your certificate, you'll need to attend all 4 classes, okay? Second thing, make sure you'll submit all your entries on time, okay? We give you a 2-day span, so even if you're unable to complete your drawing today and if you'll take a little longer and submit it tomorrow, it's absolutely okay. You'll have 2-day span, so make sure you'll submit it within those 2 days, because you'll get the certificate only if you'll attend all 4 classes and give in all 4 entries to us. And another thing, if they are really beautiful, I'm going to select top 10 and feature it on our website. So isn't that cool? It could be yours too. So don't you all want to get featured on our website? Yes. So make sure you all do that. The procedure of submission was explained at the start, but don't worry, if you'll have any doubts, all of them will be clarified. We're going to explain the submission details again at the end, so pay attention to it and go ahead and make your submissions. Yes. Okay, so just wanted to ask, okay, I can see some of you all have already completed. How are you all so quick at drawing? That's so amazing. Wow. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so I hope everyone's done this properly. In case if you'll need extra time, please take it. So I just want to see all the drawings that people are showing. So I'm just going to stop my share and I'm just going to have a look at all of them. Beautiful, guys. So all those who are still drawing, don't worry, you'll have a 2-day span. So you all can complete your drawing and submit it within these 2 days. No problem at all. Okay, and submit your entries. I'm really excited to see them, and I'm going to select top 10 and feature them on our website. So good job, guys. Okay, so make sure you'll submit your entries. The submission process is going to be explained again right now. So just hang on there, and I'm going to see you in the next class. Yes, bye. Make sure you'll call your friends in the next class. Okay, bye bye. I hope you'll enjoyed it.